And we're live. Welcome to the live stream. Today's video, we're going to be talking about a little bit of politics and a little bit on the war in Israel. And we're going to talk a little bit of a home defense story involving a firearm. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Please do the YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, share, you know the drill, all this stuff. I'm trying to hit that 6,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you wouldn't mind, that would be awesome. I'd really appreciate it. Just hit that subscribe button. Anyway, first story is, let me get a little more situated here so I'm not really... All right, first story is Comer slams Raskin as ultimate hypocrite after Raskin stopped short of committing to certify a Trump win. I guess that depends on if Trump wins, but, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, House Oversight Chairman James Comer, Republican of Kentucky, criticized Representative Jamie Raskin, Democrat, Maryland, Friday, calling him the ultimate hypocrite in response to a new report in which Raskin stopped short of committing to certify a potential 2024 presidential win for the former president, Donald Trump. Ranking member Raskin is the ultimate hypocrite, Comer told Fox News Digital. He talks a big game about saving democracy, yet he undermines it by showing seed of doubt in America's free and fair elections when it benefits him to do so. Comer slammed Raskin as two-time election denier, saying Raskin suggests the 2000 election was illegitimate and didn't certify election results when Trump won the White House in 2016. Now, ranking member Raskin is signaling he'd do the same if Trump wins again in November. Raskin doesn't care at all about democracy. He only cares about putting a Democrat in the White House, whatever it costs, Comer said. Raskin, the top Democrat on the committee and former January 6th committee member, told Axios in a report published Thursday, if former President Trump won a free and fair, honest election, then he would obviously accept it. The report continued to say that Raskin said he definitely does not assume the former president will employ a free and fair, honest means to win the Oval Office. Trump is doing whatever he can to try and interfere with the process, whether we're talking about manipulating electoral college counts in Nebraska or manipulating the vote count in Georgia or imposing other kinds of impediments, Raskin told Axios. Several other Democrat members of Congress shared Raskin's sentiments, including Illinois Representative Jan Schakowsky and Massachusetts Representative Jim McGovern. McGovern told Axios, Democrats will certify a Trump win, assuming everything goes the way we expect it. After years of the radical left's stenographers in the mainstream media, corporate special interest groups, and radical Democrats viciously smearing Donald Trump and Republicans for standing up for election integrity. Now, 24 days until the election, the far left are claiming that a President Trump victory would be illegitimate, and the mainstream media remains silent. Raskin responded to the criticism in a statement to Fox News Digital, saying, the Democrat Party is a party of democracy and the results and the rule of law. We stand by both. Trump and his followers have tried to use fraud, deceit, lies, coercion, and trickery, voter suppression, and mass insurrectory violence to seize power against the rule of our constitutional order, Raskin says. I will never back down from defending American constitutional democracy against their big lies, political coups, and violent insurrections. And I certainly won't get into the mud with Chairman Comer and call him a hypocrite because that would imply he has some principles and ideals to betray. You kind of get the gist of it. Raskin is basically telling them that he won't certify the election if Trump wins because it's not going to, he doesn't think it will be fair. But yet the Republicans are the ones that are trying to push for voter ID, push for only citizens voting, no illegals voting. And so it's like the Republicans are the ones trying to get the fair elections, all that. So it's like they're the Democrats are the ones that are against the Constitution. They're inserting people into the election that didn't even get a vote in the primaries. Kamala Harris didn't even get a single vote in the primaries, but yet here she is running for president. Because they just decided that, instead of going by who the people vote for, they don't care who the people vote for. They don't give a crap who the people vote for. It's whoever they want in office. That's who's going to get in office. It's who they want in office. It has nothing to do with the voters. It has everything to do with who they want, period. They don't care about democracy. They don't care about the election. And if Kamala doesn't get inserted, then they're going to insurrection. They're going to do whatever they can to keep Trump out of office. And if he gets in office, they're not going to accept his victory, basically. All right, the next one is from the BBC. It's just a short one. An Afghan man arrested in alleged U.S. election day attack plot. Sounds interesting. Let's see what he has to say here. The U.S. Department of Justice has arrested a man who allegedly planned an attack on Election Day in the name of the Islamic State group. The suspect, Nazir Ahmad Twahed, or however you pronounce that, Tawhidi, I think that's it, 27, is a citizen of Afghanistan residing in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, according to prosecutors. This defendant, motivated by ISIS, allegedly conspired to commit a violent attack on Election Day here on our homeland, said FBI Director Christopher Wray in a statement on Tuesday. The FBI said he was attempting to stockpile firearms and had taken steps to liquidate his family's assets and relocate members overseas. Mr. Tawhidi, I guess we'll call him that, is charged with attempting to provide, and conspiracy to provide support or resources to a foreign terrorist organization, and with trying to procure firearms and ammunition to use to commit a felony or act of terrorism. The FBI said Mr. Tawhidi worked with an unarmed co-conspirator who is a juvenile relative and also a citizen of Afghanistan. It accuses him of consuming Islamic State propaganda via internet based on Google records obtained by law enforcement and donated to a charity used as a front for ISIS. We will continue to combat the ongoing threat that ISIS and its supporters pose to America's national security, and we will identify, investigate, and prosecute the individuals who seek to terrorize the American people, said Attorney General Merrick Garland. According to the BBC news partner CBS, federal investigators' affidavit alleges that Mr. Tawhidi researched for surveillance cameras in Washington and webcams showing the White House and Washington Monument. It also alleges that he researched states with more lax gun laws. So he's going with the ones with that are more gun free, or not gun free, gun that have lax gun laws. Mr. Tawhidi sought AK-47 assault rifles to use in the attack, authorities claim. On October 7th, he and the co-conspirator met with individuals who actually worked undercover for the FBI to purchase the weapons and ammunition. After the purchase, Mr. Tawhidi and his co-conspirator, the best words, were arrested. In an interview conducted after his arrest on Monday, the FBI said Mr. Tawhidi allegedly confirmed he planned an Election Day attack that would target large gatherings of people and that he planned to die carrying it out. Suicide mission. Mr. Tawhidi arrived in the U.S. in September 2021 on a special immigrant visa with his wife and young child. He lived in Oklahoma City at the time of his arrest. It is not imminently clear if he has legal representation. So this is just one case. He was planning an attack on some large gatherings on Election Day. You know, and this is just one case. They're probably all over the place. They're probably in every single state. They're probably, like I said, they're probably everywhere. This is just one case. Oklahoma City. You know, these guys are everywhere. He's been in here since 2021, and this is obviously the Biden administration's, you know, open borders, you know, letting people like this in. And this is what's happening. And they're all over the place. They're what some people call sleeper cells. They're all over the place. They've been planning stuff like this for a long time. This guy even admitted it. He was willing to go in there and do a suicide attack to take out a bunch of people, probably strap a bomb to himself or whatever, or go in there with some AK-47s and start blasting and then have a bomb attached to him and blow the place up. You know, who knows? But I mean, these guys are all over the place and they're not going away, and it's crazy. I don't know what, you know, it's kind of, you know, it's getting scary that, you know, the closer this election comes, you know, the more risk we have to face. Right, the next one is Elon Musk says Kamala Harris is getting support from billionaires who are terrified that Trump will reveal the Epstein client list. That makes a lot of sense to me, but let's see what the article has to say here. Billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk said some billionaires are terrified that former President Donald Trump would reveal the Jeffrey Epstein client list if elected in November. Musk made comments while talking to Tucker Carlson on his show, which was published on the X platform, which is owned by Musk. You know, I think part of why Kamala is getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to be made public, said Musk. And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome. It's because a lot of their names are probably on that list. He went on to name venture capitalist Reid Hoffman and Microsoft founder Bill Gates as two of those who are allegedly afraid of the disclosure of Epstein's client list. Carlson went on to say that he could tell just by looking at them. You can sort, you can just look at them and you're like, that's a nervous person right there, he said. Sometimes you can tell when people are nervous about something, like, but they went on to claim that many of the people on the Epstein client list and the list of alleged accomplices to Sean Diddy Combs, P. Diddy, I'm sure you've heard of that one, were among the people who scolded regular Americans. Musk said that if Trump were to win the election, that they could clean house. A judge in charge of the Epstein client list has explained that many of the names in the lawsuit are being protected because they are victims or falsely accused perpetrators. Also, people named have due process rights to be legally able to challenge their identities being released. Musk has formally endorsed Trump and has joined him on the campaign trail. Trump has previously said that he would release the Epstein client list if elected again. So I think the list needs to come out eventually. I do believe in the due process, because if these guys are innocent, just because their name's on that list, they may not have had anything to do with it. Same with the Diddy thing. Just because people were associated with Diddy doesn't necessarily mean they did it. But I think they need to get those names out, and I think that everybody on those lists needs to be held accountable for whatever part of it they did have. Whatever, if they were directly involved in it, I think they need to be prosecuted and judged accordingly. But if not, if they were just associated and just happened to be put on a list that they had nothing to do with, then again, prosecuted to the fullest of what they did. If they're part of it, then they need to be held accountable. And I think the list of names of both of those lists needs to actually be made known public, at least those that have been accused and or convicted of that, and they need to be made public so that everybody knows, because just because they're billionaires doesn't mean they should be exempt from the law and exempt from people knowing what they did. These guys are elite people. These guys are entertainment, Hollywood entertainment, music entertainment, political figures. All of these guys are like what's the word? They're all just figures. In the public, and people need to know that these guys that they're following and that they're idolizing and that they're, that they're evil people. So anyway, a couple more to go, but first I want to just say thank you to everybody that's come and gone, or that's here and whatever, that, appreciate y'all. Love you. Couldn't do this without you. I'm trying to hit that 6,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Still got a little bit of time. I've still got a little ways to go for that. I know 6,000 may not sound like much, but to me, that's a big deal. I've put a lot of work into this, and we're growing, but we're growing slowly. And, I do everything myself. I don't have any behind the scenes, and I have no one behind the other side of the camera. I do all the editing. I do everything. All the stuff I buy, I buy with the little teeny bit of money that YouTube does pay me. So if you wouldn't mind, just hit that subscribe button, do the YouTube stuff. There's the super stuff if you feel like it, but just hit the YouTube, subscribe stuff. Takes you 5 seconds. No time at all. Also, I want to do just a little bit of a shilling. We've got this ProTac It's just a flashlight I use. It's not really, it's a little big for your pocket, but it's perfect to put like around the shop, around the house, or carry around in your bag. I'm not sponsored by Streamlight at all, and nor do I sell them or anything. I do have an Amazon affiliate link if if you feel like help me out with a few pennies and get you a ProTac. It's a really good flashlight, excellent. It's held up great. Like I said, I'm not sponsored. They're not paying me anything to do to sport them. I really like Streamlights, and yeah, Amazon affiliate link. I'll put one down below if you want one. It's an excellent flashlight, decent price, and you're helping me out with a few pennies. And again, but if not, that's fine. Just hit that subscribe button. Do the stuff. You know what to do. Anyway, next on the next article, U.S. urges Israel to stop shooting at UN peacekeepers in Lebanon. A little bit about the war here. U.S. President Joe Biden, asterisk, has said that he absolutely positively urging Israel to stop firing at UN peacekeepers during its conflict with Hezbollah in Lebanon, following 2 incidences in 48 hours. On Friday, the Israel Defense Force, or IDF, said its troops were responsible for the incident in which 2 Syri Lankan soldiers for the UN Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, were injured. IDF soldiers operating around the UNIFIL base in Nakura identified a threat and opened fire. The Israel army said, adding the incident would be investigated at the highest level. On Thursday, 2 Indonesian soldiers for the UN Interim Force in Lebanon were injured falling from an observation tower after an Israel tank fired towards it. Sounds like they jumped. But anyway, the leaders of France, Italy, and Spain issued a joint statement condemning Israel's actions, saying they were unjustifiable and should immediately come to an end. Sri Lanka's foreign ministry said it strongly condemns the IDF attack, which injured 2 of its soldiers. The head of the UN peacekeepers said there was reason to believe some firing on UN positions in southern Lebanon had been direct, though he did not ascribe responsibility for the incident. For example, we have a case where a tower was hit by a fire and also damages to cameras at one of the positions, which obviously to us very much looked like direct fire. Jean-Pierre Lacroix told the BBC News Shore program. As Israel's invasion of southern Lebanon continues, the IDF and the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah continue to fire missiles and rockets across the Israel-Lebanon border. The IDF said it had detected about 100 rockets crossing into northern Israel from Lebanon within the space of half an hour on Friday. 2 unmanned aerial vehicles were detected crossing from Lebanon, one of which was intercepted by the IDF. Or was intercepted, the IDF said. The Lebanese Ministry of Health said 3 people, including a 2-year-old girl, were killed in an Israeli raid on the city of Sidon in southern Lebanon. 2 Lebanese soldiers were killed after Israel's forces targeted an army post in the town of Kafra in southern Lebanon, the Lebanese army said. In the capital Beirut, emergency workers continued to comb through the wreckage of buildings hit by the Israeli airstrikes on Thursday. Lebanon's prime minister said the attacks came with no warnings that killed 22 people, all civilians, and injured another 117. Israel has not commented. The Israeli forces launched a ground invasion into southern Lebanon last month and has escalated their response to rocket fire from Hezbollah. Hezbollah said Israel has been trading near daily cross-border fire since October, when the Palestinian armed group Hamas attacked communities in southern Israel. The IDF said the UN post struck in Nakura on Friday was about 160 feet away from the source of the threat identified by soldiers. It said it told peacekeeping troops to stay in protected spaces at the time. UNIFIL said Israel military vehicles had knocked over barriers at another UN site in Lebanon closer to the border with Israel. The incident represented a serious development, it said. Lebanon's Prime Minister Nahib Mikati said Friday's attack was a crime which is directed at the international community. Israel argues that UNIFIL has failed to stabilize the region and has asked peacekeepers to withdraw northward so it can confront Hezbollah. The Israeli ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, has reiterated Israel's call for UNIFIL personnel to withdraw north by 3 miles to avoid danger, but the UN's Jean-Pierre Lacroix said it would remain in position. Well, sounds like it's kind of their own fault. They were warned. They were said, hey, if you don't get out of here, we're coming. So you might want to move up north a few miles so that we can do our business. But they didn't want to. About 10,000 peacekeepers from 50 countries were stationed in Lebanon alongside around 800 civilian staff. Since 1978, they have patrolled the area between the Litani River and the UN-recognized boundary between Lebanon and Israel, known as the Blue Line. Hezbollah began firing rockets into northern Israel on October 8th last year, the day after Hezbollah's deadly attack on southern Israel. The Iran-backed group says it has acted in solidarity with the Palestinians and has said it will stop firing if there is a ceasefire between Israel, Hamas, and Hamas in Gaza. Over the past 3 weeks, Israel has dramatically escalated its campaign against Hezbollah, intensifying airstrikes against southern Lebanon and southern parts of Beirut, assassinating Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, and launching a ground invasion. Lebanon says more than 2,000 people have been killed, mainly in the recent escalation, and hundreds of thousands have been displaced. This week, Hezbollah rocket fire has killed 2 Israeli civilians and a Thai national, Israeli authorities say. All right, so that one it just sounds like they're getting back at their bully. Like Hezbollah's been bullying them. They've been sending rockets over since October 8th. That's like over a year ago. And basically, what I see is they're getting tired of it. And they're, okay, we're done. We're coming back. We're coming back stronger. We're coming back harder. We're coming back. And, and they warned them. They said, we're coming, but they just, no, we're staying. So, okay, we're coming. You might want to move because we're coming. So the Israelis were, like I said, I don't condone the killing of civilians, but look, when they come and they attack, they bombed a big old party with a bunch of civilians, and they've been, both sides have been killing civilians in their attacks. It's gonna happen. That's the problem with war is innocent people die, and that's just the nature of the way it goes. But basically, they're tired of the weak U.S. leadership waiting around and just say, please don't attack. Let's just be peaceful and let's just do it in love. Let's just love each other. When they're blowing us up, we should just like tuck our tail and run. No, I don't think so. And Israel's that way. They're saying, you know what? No, we're gonna go after them and we're gonna get them back. We're done getting bullied. We've had it. And they're going in there and they're just taking them out. And that's all there is to it. Anyway, the next one is from The Blaze, and it's a homeowner fatally shoots a decorated off duty cop who reportedly broke into residence at 5 a.m. A home defense involving an off duty police officer. Okay. The officer was given an Investigator of the Year award the week prior to Friday's shooting, which officials are calling self-defense. And a Georgia homeowner fatally shot a decorated off-duty Atlanta police officer who reportedly broke into a neighborhood residence at 5 a.m. Friday, and authorities were calling the shooting self-defense. Atlanta police identified the officer as investigator Aubrey Horton. Horton was selected as Investigator of the Year at the Atlanta Police Foundation's 20th anniversary Crime is Toast Award on September 24th. The incident occurred at a home on Orkney Way near East Carroll Road in the St. Andrews Country Club neighborhood. WAGA said. Douglas County Sheriff Tim Pounds told the station that the deputies responded to a burglary called at the scene of the shooting. On an attempted burglary, we understand that an individual attempted to gain entry into the residence, the sheriff told WAGA. Once inside, the homeowner produced a firearm in self-defense and shot the individual. Pound said the individual in question died. The deadly shooting shocked neighbors, the station said. I've lived here for 5 years and can promise you this isn't something you can expect to see here, resident Milton Johnston told WAGA. Authorities told the station that Horton also lived in the neighborhood about a half mile from the scene and may have been experiencing a mental health episode under the influence of narcotics. Drugs are bad, okay? We believe the burglar lived in the neighborhood, Pounds noted to WAGA. This is an active investigation and there are many details we're still working to uncover. Atlanta police confirmed in a statement that Horton, who had been with the department since November 2015 and most recently was assigned to the fugitive unit, was off duty at the time of the incident, the station said. We're working closely with Douglas County Sheriff's Office to learn more about what occurred as they continue to investigate, the police department statement read. according to WAGA. That was just a short one, but seriously, even police officers, they go through a lot. They do their thing, but this just shows another home defense, self defense incident involving a gun, and you've got to stay armed, keep yourself ready, because you never know. You never know who, you never know when it's going to happen. It could happen anytime. Somebody could just break in, and if you're unarmed, what can you do about it? I mean, and that's the thing. Stay armed, stay protected, stay aware of your surroundings always, and practice your Second Amendment right. Get a gun, train with it, practice with it, even if you don't want to carry it with you everywhere, even if that scares you, or you're not, or you can't legally, or whatever in the state you're in. Just have one for home, at least have one at your house and protect your home. That's like your sanctuary, your castle, your kingdom, your safe place. There should be no reason why you should feel unsafe there. So, and if you do, you need to act accordingly. And so have a firearm or two in there. If I recommend carry it with you, but if you don't want to carry it with you, that's fine. But at least have one. Have one handy, have one ready, have one in case somebody decides to do something stupid. Because there are some dumb people out there that, even in this case, a law enforcement officer. He's been with the station for 15, more than that, almost 20 years. 10 years. 2015, 10 years. He's been with there like 10 years. And they said he was having a mental breakdown, mental episode on narcotics. So, police go through a lot of trauma, and, they see a lot, they hear a lot, and they do dumb stuff too. They're not all bad. They don't all do this. But I'm not trying to say that, but they can. And, the mental health issue is a thing. And, we need to try and figure out a way to spot it and do something about it before something like this happens, because things, if they could have noticed that he was having some trouble, they could have got him some help, and he wouldn't have done this, and he would still be alive. But you break into someone's house, you're responsible for what happens. So anyway, that's the show for today. I appreciate every single one of you, especially you. Yeah, you right there. I see you. Appreciate all of you. And I wouldn't do this without you. I couldn't do this without you. I love every one of you. Please do the YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, share, comment. You know the stuff. I don't have to remind you of that. You've probably watched YouTube for years and years, and you know about the subscribe. But do me a solid and hit that. It takes you 5 seconds. If you don't like me after that, watch a few of my videos, you decide I'm an idiot, you don't like me, unsubscribe. Boom. No harm, no foul. You're out nothing but a little bit of your time. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Love you all lots. Wouldn't do this without you. And I'll see you in the next one.